Alright, good morning on this Thursday, the 4th of May. I am just about to embark on the hiking trails. So rain is in the forecast for today, unfortunately, but I think we're going to be able to do this hike before the rain starts. So where I was at in my last video where I was out hiking was right over there. You see the cemetery road? The flats are right behind it. We also used to come up here and play a lot as kids and had a blast. But all this stuff that you see here wasn't here. This is all fairly recent, and they've got a lot of stuff going on up here above the fence that I don't think anybody can access anymore. There's a big outdoor summer amphitheater up there, but we're not going to worry about that today. We're going to go this way to what used to be known to us as the horse trails. Great big tree. And basically the horse trail started right about here. This bridge, of course, was not here back then. So we are officially leaving the amphitheater area. I believe the original trail probably cut through there. This is basically where the fence ends. And this would be officially what we used to know as the horse trails. The highway's down there. The abandoned house I talked about, where the foundation is at, is right over there. There used to be a trail coming up here, and I'll show you where it came out at. They have changed these trails quite a bit. They've made them a lot wider. But originally, this was a ditch trail that was used to bring water to the town. There would have been a ditch here with water flowing, and it was simply a very narrow trail, and it's much wider now. Having trouble finding where the original little trail that somebody had built came up here and met up with this one. It should be right about in here. Last time I was up here, you could see where it kind of entered the trail. They have unfortunately changed this so much. They just try to wipe out what originally was here. Let's see if I go a little bit further. Okay, just about 25 feet farther, and I have found, I believe, what is the original trail. We used to ride bicycles up and down this, mostly down it, but you can kind of make it out still. And it just went down there and then joined up with the road. And I'd ridden motorcycles up this before in the past too. Yeah. Everything changes. We pretty much have wiped out that original trail. So I've walked about 2 more minutes and I've came up to this area. It was just this bend in the original trail. There was a trail going up this way, which is still there. There was also a trail going down this way, which ran diagonally with this and joined up with that original trail back there. But that one is completely lost now. It is gone. So this trail that went up the hill originally went straight up that way into that gully, but now they've changed it and they made a switchback trail out of it. I've been on it, but originally it went straight up that way. So in the old homestead video, which was the last time I was up in this area, I was over there and I talked about a narrow gauge railway steam engine that ran up into this area. It would have ran probably on this side of the highway. The highway wouldn't have been there back then, but I believe it ran near the creek. And we're going to see some pretty big evidence of that coming up pretty soon. The creek is down here and it's running pretty good. I have walked this creek up and down all the way to as far as I'm going to be going today, and I have panned for gold in this creek. And we're going to get up here to where the railroad evidence is at, and that's where I spent some time panning for gold with a girlfriend in 1986. A very moss-covered tree. As a kid in the 70s, I spent a lot of time up here, and I did have several forts I had built up in this area. Just built them out of sticks and branches and things like that. Nothing that would ever be waterproof. but I can't remember. I can only remember where one of them was at, and that would have been just a little bit farther up here. Okay, we're coming upon a place now where there was quite a big mudslide in the 1970s. So this is a recent tree that has fallen down, at least since the last time I was up here. They've already taken care of it. This is where the mudslide was at back in the 1970s. So there was always kind of a little creek that ran through this area. It's kind of dribbled off down there. And one winter, it all just loosened up, and this whole section just slid right down and basically landed right here. So we didn't know about it, and then my little brother's friend David, who lived up the road quite a ways in a subdivision, came down this way to come to our house and found that it had just happened probably during the night. And he tried to wade through it, and he got partway through it, and he lost one of his tennis shoes. So somewhere buried deep in that stuff is one of David's tennis shoes. Even though he doesn't live in this area anymore, he does come to visit occasionally, and we always have a laugh about that. Somewhere in there, David's tennis shoe is still in there. And he showed up at our house covered in mud and wearing only one tennis shoe. And that all happened right here back in the 1970s. And right down there, you have to kind of look through the brush and the brambles there, but you can see a big cement looking structure. And that is part of the way that they took the water out of the creek and fed the steam engine with water. So the tracks must have ran somewhere between the now highway and this ramjet thing, this water tower to service the steam engines. So somewhere down there a freight steam engine used to run in the late 1880s and early 1900s. And this is where my girlfriend Kelly and I, in 1986, spent an afternoon up here gold panning, right down in this area. I remember we were just downstream of the big cement structure. And we were right somewhere down in here. We got pictures of her and I gold panning down here. We didn't find any gold that day, but she was really excited to learn how to gold pan. I know the GoPro can't see it, but there is a duck right down there. Maybe you can see him turning around in the water. I guess it's a duck. I don't really know my birds very well. But we didn't find no gold that day when we were panning up here. But I did find this lovely pocket knife right here in this area. It did have a fair amount of rust on it, but I cleaned it up and I've carried it ever since. I even venture to guess how old it is or how long it had been up here. I don't think it's too old. It is a Gerber. It is a nice stainless steel knife, and it does say Portland, Oregon there. The other side of the blade, it says Silver Knight and something or other. I don't have the right glasses on to be able to read that. But I love this knife. I have carried it ever since in my pocket. I love this old knife because it's very thin and easy to carry. And before we move on, we're about halfway, I think. I did have the fort up in this area, and I believe this was the path that we took up to climb up there to it. And again, it was just built out of whatever things I could find here in the forest.